For decades, the Ballon d'Or was the ultimate individual award in football, but until recently, it only existed for men's game. That changed in 2018 when France football introduced the women's Ballon d'Or, finally recognizing the best female footballer in the world. Since then, the award has celebrated incredible players who dominated club football, international tournaments, and redefined the women's game. Today, we're looking at every women's Ballon d'Or winner from 2018 to 2026 and the incredible seasons that earned them football's most prestigious individual prize. The first ever women's Ballon d'Or winner wasn't just a great player, she was a statement. Ada Hegerberg didn't just win the award, she set the standard. Born in Norway in 1995, Hegerberg grew up in a football family alongside her sister Andrine, who also became a professional football player. From a very young age, Ada stood out not just because she scored goals, but because of how naturally complete her game already looked. She wasn't just a typical striker, she had strength, intelligence, positioning, and most importantly, an instinct for goals that very few players in the world possess. Her rise to the top came quickly. After starting her professional career in Norway, she made the move that would define her legacy, joining Olympic Lyon, the most dominant team in women's football. At Lyon, she became part of the dynasty, and not just part of it, one of his main leaders. The 2017 and 2018 season was where everything came together. Hegerberg scored over 50 goals in a single season across all competitions, a number that almost unheard of the highest level. She led Lyon to the Women's Champions League, the domestic league title, and continued their total dominance in Europe. In the 2017 and 2018 season, she scored 15 goals in the Champions League, and Lyon made it 4-1 to win final. That moment alone would have enough to define a career. But what made Hegerberg special wasn't just her numbers, it was her consistency. Season after season, she kept delivering. Her movement inside the box was almost perfect. Defenders couldn't track her runs, and if she got even a half a chance, the ball was in the net. And yet, her story is not just about success. In 2017, at peak of her career, Hegerberg made a shocking decision. She stepped away from the Norwegian national team, not because of injury, not because of form, but as a protest against how women's football was treated in her country. It was a bold move, one that showed she wasn't just a player, but also someone willing to stand for change in sport. By the time the first women's Ballon d'Or was awarded in 2018, there was no debate. In 2019, the next Ballon d'Or winner was Megan Rapinoe. By that point in her career, Rapinoe was already an experienced player, known for her creativity, vision, and leadership. She played as a winger, but her real strength was her ability to decide big games, and 2019 was the year where everything came together. The biggest stage, the World Cup. In 2019's FIFA Women's World Cup, Rapinoe delivered one of the most iconic performances in tournament history. She scored 6 goals and provided key assists throughout the competition. But what made her performance special wasn't just the numbers. It was when she delivered in quarterfinals with France against the host nation in front of a massive crowd. Rapinoe scored both goals in a 2-1 win. Her performance under pressure, a performance of a leader in semi-final England, another huge game with another goal in another decisive moment, and finally final with Netherlands. With everything on the line, Rapinoe stepped up again and scored a penalty and helped the United States secure the World Cup title. But Rapinoe's impact went beyond football. She became one of the most talked about athletes in the world. Her personality, confidence, and leadership made her a global icon, not just in sports, but far beyond it. By the end of 2019, there was no debate. She won the World Cup, the Golden Boot, and finally the Ballon d'Or. Megan Rapinoe didn't just win the biggest trophy in football, she owned the biggest stage in the world. In 2020, for the first time since the Women's Ballon d'Or was introduced, the award was not given. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, football around the world was heavily disrupted. Seasons were paused, tournaments were cancelled, and schedules became unpredictable. France football decided that it would be fair to award the Ballon d'Or that year. But what if it wasn't cancelled? If the award had been given, who would have won? Main contender was Pernille Harder. She had an incredible year with Wolfsburg. She dominated in both Bundesliga and the Champions League, leading her team to the Champions League final, and many fans and analytics believed she was the front runner for the Ballon d'Or in 2020. If 2018 was the beginning of the Women's Ballon d'Or, then 2021 was the start of a new era, and at the center of it was Alexia Putellas. Putellas wasn't just another great player, she was the brain of a revolution. Her story started in Spain. She was born in Barcelona and she grew up playing football from a young age, inspired by the game and supported by her family. But her journey wasn't easy. At just 18, she lost her father, a moment that deeply impacted her life and career, and later she would say that everything she achieved was for him. By 2021, she had become the leader of Barcelona Femenine, and that season was history. Barcelona didn't just win, they dominated. They won the Liga F, Copa de la Reina, and Women's Champions League, a complete trouble. And Putellas was at the center of everything. She wasn't just a midfielder, she controlled the tempo of every game, created chances, scored goals, and most importantly, she made everyone around her better. Statistically, her season was incredible. She scored over 25 goals as a midfielder. That's something extremely rare. She was involved in almost every attacking move Barcelona created, but numbers don't tell the full story. Watching Putellas play felt different. She didn't rely on speed, she relied on intelligence. With her positioning, decision-making, and timing that made the game look simple. And by the end of 2021, there was no debate. And of course, she won the Ballon d'Or. And then she did it again. In 2022, Putellas won her another Ballon d'Or in a row, even after suffering a serious ACL injury just before the Euros. Her performances throughout the season were still enough to secure the award. She even finished as the top scorer of the Champions League. As a midfielder, Alexia Putellas didn't just win the trophies, she changed how people see midfielders in women's football. If Alexia Putellas was the brain of Barcelona, Bonmatí, who became the engine, her rise wasn't sudden. She had already been part of Barcelona's dominant system for years, learning, adapting, and improving. But after Putellas' injury, Bonmatí didn't just replace her, she elevated the team. 2023 was her breakout to the world. That season, she dominated both club and international football. With Barcelona, she won the Champions League again, controlling games with incredible composure and intelligence. And then came the biggest stage, the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023. But Bonmatí didn't just perform, she dominated the tournament. She was everywhere, controlling the midfield with breaking lines and creating some chances, scoring when it mattered. By the end of the World Cup, she was named player of the tournament. That same year, she won the Ballon d'Or with no debate. But she wasn't done. In 2024, Bonmatí proved it wasn't just one great season. She continued to dominate European football with Barcelona. Game after game, she controlled the tempo, dictated play, and showed why she was the best midfielder in the world. And once again, she won the Ballon d'Or. By this point, something had become clear. Bonmatí wasn't just a great player, she was the standard. And as women's football continues to grow, players like Bonmatí are defining the future. From Ada Hedersberg dominance to Rapinoe's World Cup brilliance to Putellas' control and Bonmatí's intelligence, the Women's Ballon d'Or tells the story of how fast the game is evolving. And the scariest part is the next generation is already coming. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate every single one of you. See you in the next video. This is IceColdFinish.